thousand again to come to your Finance Mandarin platform live. Say hi. Thank you. Today is very special, and today is the IPO of Kuai, the hottest IPO in town. We've been covering this IPO for since it's like application from Hong Kong EX or the ground to the due diligence meetings from 6 months to now. So our speakers and our investors, our students study quite a lot. But today we want to bring more in-depth information to share with more people, because outside China, a lot of people don't know what's Kuai, and then what's it related to TikTok or Twitter or the others of short video, YouTube. So today we have the expert, Jeffrey, to come to talk with us, especially talking about their strategies. So that's really hot today. The starting price is from 150s and up to 333 today. Why so hot? It's crazy. So we have already have the topic covered in the Finance Mandarin platform. But today we are going to go more in depth and let more people in a connection to join. So now you're just coming into us. This is Finance Mandarin live event. You're watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and the other social media. If you just arrived here, show us who are you and where you're from. We're happy to accept any question. So today will be a very focused target to have our expert Jeffrey to join with us today. We will look at the IPO, not looking at the investor or end users. We're particularly looking at the strategy from a perspective, investor perspective. If you want to know more, follow Jeffrey's podcast. There's a link here, or join with us to book a demo class. So now let's introduce our speaker today and talking about more about this Kuai, the story. Because a lot of them already know the founders, Shou, and he's graduated from Tsinghua University and used to work from Baidu. So that's why the investor, including the cornerstone, including BAT at the very beginning. But now it's so hot. How about tomorrow? That's the thing we're going to look and find out more. So Jeffrey, here you go. Thank you for your intelligence and input.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is the second one of these I've done with Finance Mandarin, which is really a pleasure. I'm just going to talk pretty quick, maybe 15 minutes, 12 minutes I'll try and get off, and just sort of bring out what I think is not really being discussed about Kuai. Everyone's it's a big stock IPO, it's great, everyone's crazy. This will die down, right? And then it will sort of become a question of, okay, where's this thing going to settle over the next year, 2 years? If you're an investor, you're looking at this from a stock perspective. And that's kind of what it's in my ballpark, which is more of the strategic questions, the business model questions, not the day-to-day trading stuff, but to get a sense of where this business is going to end up. And so that'll be kind of my take I'll give you right here. Just really, let's say 3 points. For those of you who aren't familiar with Kuai, I'll give you the basic numbers everyone's talking about. Daily average users, 305, 300 plus million. This is from their filing prospectus. Monthly average users, they say 769 million. The average person is spending 86 minutes per day on the app. And their sort of renminbi and e-commerce merchandise that moved through the platform in the 9 months, because most of their numbers were 9 months for 2020, is about 200 billion renminbi. So the net takeaway is a lot of activity, a lot of users, a significant amount of GMV moving through the platform. The one that gets my attention out of that is probably the 86 minutes per day of average time spent. Facebook is 20 to 30 minutes per day. TikTok a year ago was 40 minutes per day, and everyone thought that was a big deal. But then 1 year later, TikTok announces we're 90 minutes per day. So this is soaking up a lot of people's time, which definitely has companies like Facebook and Twitter worried. Because every minute you spend on this, you're not spending time on Facebook. Their revenue, I'm not going to go through that. I'll give you, here's my quick summary of what's really going on. This is a media entertainment company. They describe themselves as a video company, and they say we do live streaming and we do short video. Okay, those things are really two different businesses. They're kind of grouping it together under this idea of we're video, but really what they're in is a very difficult game. And the difficult game is, how do I acquire and retain the attention of Chinese consumers week after week? And that's really difficult because there's a lot of stuff coming. There's always new products. There's always new tech. And there's video games and there's video and there's chatting and how do you get users, get them to pay attention and then keep them? That used to be called media. Now it's just called everything on your smartphone. Point number two, their strategy in this game of how do we stay on that frontier of attention. Their strategy has mostly been a fast follower where they look at what's moving and then they copy it. That's how they got into live streaming. That's how they got into short video. That's a real contrast to, say, ByteDance, TikTok, which is much more of an innovator. They actually create things systematically that people want. They've been very effective at getting into the two hottest areas in this business right now, which is short video and live streaming, which is critical. The problem is it doesn't mean they're necessarily in a good strategic position in those. So yeah, you've got the customers, but can you keep them? Can you keep them when the competitors come for you? So that's kind of a question. And they're mostly in a fairly weak position strategically, in my opinion. And then with all of this discussion, the big wild card is WeChat. You really have to view Kuai Shou and WeChat in the same question. Okay, that's kind of the basic takeaway. I'll go into a little bit. The fight for the attention of Chinese consumers is absolutely brutal. If you're Alibaba, you're not really fighting for attention. You're not fighting for time and eyeballs. You're fighting for spending. And that's a pretty nice business because the wealth of Chinese families keeps going up. It's an expanding pie. So you can grow just by doing pretty well. If you're fighting for attention, that's a zero-sum game. There's only 24 hours a day. Every minute people are spending on Facebook, they're not spending on TikTok. That is a very difficult game, and it changes very quickly because attention is fickle. Live streaming is very popular right now. It wasn't 4 years ago. It may not be 4 years from now. Maybe virtual reality and augmented reality will be the thing. Maybe it'll be podcasts. Maybe it'll be chat rooms like Clubhouse that are made on audio. I mean, this space changes very, very quickly. So staying on sort of the frontier of attention is very, very difficult. It's like trying to be a pop star or something. People may like your music today, but then 2 years later, they all like country or they all like rap. I mean, tastes change and the technology changes and it's hard to stay on that frontier. Now, they have done exceptionally well in that business so far, basically by being a fast follower. They started out in GIFs, sort of short videos that you can share with each other. That naturally emerged into live streaming and short video. So they were well positioned. But that's a very different strategy than, say, ByteDance. ByteDance's big strength is they are incredibly innovative. They don't just jump from GIFs to short video to live streaming, which are all kind of in the same space. They jump from news aggregator to short video to comics to long video to gaming to education. They will jump all over the place to get whatever people most want right now. They're very systematic at it. They're very good at it. So those are two different strategies, but both of them are fairly effective for this very difficult game of staying and keeping people's attention. Okay, so that's the good part of the story. Here's the part of the story that worries me. Kuai Shou is really three different businesses. It's short videos. We know what short videos are. That's the TikTok business model. It's Instagram. It's short videos. You monetize by advertising. Very simple. It works really well. ByteDance has got $35+ billion worth of sales in the last year off this business model. That's a very good business model. We know what it is. But when you actually look at Kuai numbers, most of their money is coming from live streaming, 60 to 70%. It's about 20 to 30% from advertising, and the rest is live streaming. It's moving, it used to be much less, but so they are not quite, they are not terribly impressive as a competitor to ByteDance. They are much, much smaller. Their revenue from advertising in this short video format is more like $1 to $2 billion, where Kuai and where TikTok's up to 30+ billion. So yeah, they're in that business. It's a good business. It's a great business, but they are way behind ByteDance. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Their second business, which is their kind of bigger one, is live streaming, where you give gifts to people that do little, they do presentations, they do skits, they do songs, they do music. You're entertaining people, and then people throw you a little bit of money. They throw you Kuai coins. That's a funny business. That's 60+% of their revenue. It's a very weird business. It's not clear to me that's going to survive. We see that in businesses like Huya and YY, but it's kind of a niche, strange business. The third business is the other attractive one, which is live streaming based on e-commerce. That's Taobao Live. That's JD Live. This is a natural feature within e-commerce, huge amounts of money. So the TikTok business model, I think, is awesome. The e-commerce live streaming, Taobao Live, is awesome. They're not terribly strong in those. I don't know how they're going to win in those long term, and that's my primary question. The business they're kind of historically largest in, live streaming by giving gifts, it's kind of a questionable business in my book. We'll see how that it could go up, it could go down. I can't predict those. But they basically offer all three of those within one app. I don't think that's how it's going to play out over time. I think you are going to see these things separate. At the end of the day, I think Instagram is a different business than YouTube. I think TikTok is a different business than Instagram. I think these are going to be separate things, but right now it's kind of hot. Everyone's booming fast. So it's all, when the market slows, we'll see the business models sort of segment themselves out. So short video, content matching, I think that's their most interesting business, basically the ByteDance business model. One of the questions I think on that one, oops, sorry. That's my timer, so I don't go on too long. Okay. I think that's the most interesting one. The problem with that is ByteDance is not really, TikTok is not really a short video company. What they are is they're a content matching company. Is they know what people want because they're very good at AI. They get a lot of users to generate content, and then they match it, which is why you see what you want to see on TikTok, and it's very addictive. They're really more about the matching than the short video because they're applying this matching to lots of different type of content. They did the exact same thing, but they did news headlines. That's Toutiao. They do Xigua, longer video. They did short video, Douyin, TikTok. They're going into casual gaming. They're going into education. So if you're going to compete as Kuai versus in this business, you have to be about a lot more than short video. You have to really be about content matching. And that's what ByteDance is best at. So they're in good position. They're number 2, but number 1 is pretty far down the field. They're going to have to really catch them up. Live streaming tied to e-commerce, one of those 3 businesses, I think is incredibly attractive. That is massive amount of money. That's Taobao live stream. I mean, it's people selling things, and then this sort of funny business model that's growing rapidly in terms of time, attention, and e-commerce. And people are very open about, like, look, content, which is live streaming, is merging with commerce, Alibaba, which is true. The problem with that is the content people aren't very good at moving into the commerce side because you have to build all those warehouses. You have to build, it's very hard. The commerce people are very good at moving into content. That's why Alibaba could do that. That's kind of a one-way road, and they're over here, not over here. So yeah, content and commerce are merging, live streaming. for e-commerce, but it looks like it's mostly commerce companies moving into content, not the other way around. Or they do M&A or they do partnerships or something. Okay, last point. This is a lot about WeChat. ByteDance is an independent company. They're not really tied to Alibaba. They're not tied to Tencent. They're, their own major. But their biggest competitor, if you're fighting for attention, their biggest competitor is really Tencent. Both Tencent and ByteDance are fighting for the attention of Chinese consumers on an hourly basis. Okay. Kuai is an investee and a partner of WeChat, in the same way that Sogou is a partner of WeChat for search. Everyone talks about Baidu. Nobody talks about Sogou. Sogou is number 2. Baidu's number 1 for search. But Sogou is tied with WeChat. So when they do a search, they can search within WeChat, all the public accounts and increasingly all the mini programs. And I think Tencent just bought them. They were public and then Tencent made an offer to take them private and buy the whole company. I think it went through, but it was pending regulation. I think Kuai is probably going to look like that. They're going to be sort of a distant number 2, but they are tied with Tencent. And Tencent, Alan Zhang, WeChat, he has been very vocal that he thinks the future of WeChat is live streaming and short video. And in the last year, WeChat has launched beta versions of both live streaming and short video, which is the exact same thing they did with search. They had their own version of search, but then they ended up buying Sogou. So we could see the same thing happen where they go for live streaming and short video. They tried internally, which they're doing, but then they very much might expand their partnership with Kuai. And if you're looking at TikTok versus Kuai, that is one type of competition. But if you're looking at TikTok versus Kuai plus WeChat together, that's a different game. And I think that's probably where we're going, but that's a guess. Anyways, I think that's right about on time for me.
Very good. It's an excellent, very condensed and focused summary.
It's really a cool question. I mean, they're beautifully positioned, but the strategy question is, I think, going to grow in time over the next 6 months.
But indeed, now it's very hot. It's combined with, like, as you say, short video, e-commerce, and live streaming. And they also will go into education, sport, and entertainment soon, according to the business plan. Well, let's see. Yes, it's very good. So thank you, Jeffrey, to join with us today to share more content. If everyone would like to learn more about Jeffrey's idea, and then we suggest everybody here could follow him in the different social media, and also for his podcast. He's a major speaker and analyst for the Asia Tech, one of the legendary. So Jeffrey, thank you. So now we're going to summarize for what people, if just joining now, they of course can look at the replay of the focus. And thank you for your analysis, especially the 3 strategies. And then you gave us a very good summary of the major players. What are the positioning? What are the competitive advantages? Thank you. So I just made a summary for everybody here today. I hope to see you soon next time, very soon.
All right, take it easy.
Very good. Yeah. So Jeffrey just mentioned about all this unique player here. We have those one here talking about Xigua and Douyin and ByteDance. Of course, so many controversy and issue in US. And then also Jeffrey also mentioned about different players. Of course, we have Pinduoduo, Shou, the Red Book is really similar to the Instagram in the US. And we have more. It's like the Chinese dating app is like more like the Tinders in US. And JD, the logistics support, and Douyin is the US one, the TikTok. So, and then we're also talking about the e-commerce and live streaming. We have so many examples showing like the CEO will be the spokesman for their products, especially in Kuai. There's many examples to show and how can they make the million sales just in one night because the CEO as a spokesman. For example, this one, Ge Li, Greek, Dong Mingzhu, selling the air conditioner in one night for 1 million. And then we have the lipstick king, Li Jiaqi, and then the queen, Wei Ya, selling is one of the most popular KOL. And Trip, that is equivalent to the Western TripAdvisor, Booking.com, selling air ticket and hotel. And then the CEO, James Lam, also to play an important role here, he dressed up as a traveler and pretending in different roles to showing the Highland package. So after the COVID-19 in China, he sell this ticket. So just in one night, he can sell more than 1 million packages again. So you can see this is they all using Kuai, this platform, including the short video and the live streaming and e-commerce combined together. That means you can see the content, you can place an order, and then also you can get your product delivered to you. So Kuai working with JD, Jingdong, for the logistic part. So as a lot of people mention about that, if they only have content, they don't have logistic, how could they do? So people will join as alliance, as a friends for a while, but after a couple of times, maybe they also become competitors. So after the joint event with Kuai and JD, now they separated, they have their own videos, short video, they have their own logistic. This is like the games. So that's very good. So today we gave you an overall summary about what's Kuai. We spend less time to talking about the story, the setup of the founders and how can they succeed today, but mainly we today focus more on the strategies or they coming to the and the positioning. Today is very hot. And how about tomorrow? And what's the business model? Is that sustainable? That's what Jeffrey just bring it over for us. So thank you for joining with us. If you want to know more about the information, you can to subscribe for Jeffrey's podcast, especially for the Asia Tech. And also you can join with Finance Mandarin one-to-one class or the group classes. Bring this kind of online great experience to you. So thank you for joining us today. My name is Vienne Lee. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.